Welcome to the Girls Marketing Podcast, your one-stop shop for all things marketing and the perfect backing track to your workday. Every week, we get up close and personal with marketers revolutionising the industry so you can learn from the best in the game. From the latest marketing trends to building a successful marketing career, no topic is off limits. At Girls in Marketing, we champion progress, inspire change, and encourage women to take the marketing world by storm. Check out our website and membership to learn more and get involved, as we'd love to welcome you to our inner circle. Right, let's dive into another episode together. Hello and welcome back to the Girls in Marketing Podcast. Today's episode is all about TikTok, the rise of TikTok, and also, is it here to stay? So let's open the floor up to some discussion, some questions. Do we think TikTok is a platform that's here to stay? It's had such a rise over the last few years. Like, what's all of your guys' thoughts on everything?
Yeah, no, I definitely think it's here to stay. I think it definitely has a prominent place in probably all of our lives, definitely in my life.
More than we'd like to admit.
Yeah, more than I'd like to admit. I read some research recently that said about TikTok users open the app about 19 times per day, which when I read that, I thought, I feel like I probably do that more, but that's the average, 19 times per day. So I feel like it definitely has a prominent place within people's lives, but I think as social media is growing so fast now, platforms come and go so fast that even though it has such a prominent place in our lives right now, something could literally just come in and take it, take the place of TikTok. So I think TikTok is always an interesting one. They've obviously so many interesting articles recently, like massive news last year was that TikTok were fined just under $400 million for violating like child privacy. So they have had the fair share of like bad news, bad PR. But I think the good thing with TikTok is that they always kind of seem to bounce back from it and like resolve any user issues that they seem to have. Like after that happened, they brought out like a Guardian's guide to how they protect child privacy and how they go about like adhering to like GDPR and stuff. So I think that's always like a massive thing and you want like a social platform to listen to you. Another thing that they've done recently is the creativity program. Obviously there was that whole thing about like when creators first became viral on TikTok, so like Max Belegday, Charlie Marlow, all them kind of people. People were saying they're not paid enough, these people, like because they weren't supposed to be influencers, they weren't supposed to be creators. So TikTok weren't obviously monetizing them people. But now they've introduced so many creativity and ways of monetization that I think as long as they keep doing that for the creators to justify them being on the app, then they're going to keep bringing people to the app because obviously people follow creators on TikTok and that's the main reason why they're on there. So I think as long as they address every problem that they seem to have, which they seem to be doing right now, that they're there to stay, but I don't know what anyone else thinks.
Do you have that burning desire to create a website for a new idea but don't have any coding experience? Don't worry, I've got you. Hostinger is a sponsor of today's episode and they have created an AI website builder tool allowing anyone who wants to take their idea online to do so with zero coding skills. Just write 3 sentences to sum up what you're looking for and Hostinger does the rest. The AI even offers personalized suggestions on layout, design and content. Bring your new idea to life by heading to hostinger.com/girlsinmarketing and use the exclusive code girlsinmarketing for 10% off your plan. What's stopping you?
Yeah, I agree. I think incentivizing like creators and brands to be on the app is a big thing, isn't it? Because I think that people seem to love it. You know, adopters and users of TikTok are still like really increasing. So I think provided that creators and brands still want to use it as a platform that they can benefit from, there'll still be content on there that people will want. And I think, you know, if a platform's been around and is successful for as long as TikTok now has, generally we do see them sort of stay. I think some of the platforms that have come and gone in the past, like obviously the likes of Clubhouse and those sorts of ones that we're all familiar with, like they come for a really short period, we get loads of adopters and then they just sort of fizzle out, like they don't really appeal to all of the needs of their users. But I think one of the things with TikTok that keeps people using it is that it adapts with you. So the TikTok algorithm really does adapt with you and where you are in your life. So one week your For You page could be something that's really relevant to what you're going through at that time. Maybe it's something that I don't know, maybe you've just got a dog or you're looking at getting a dog, and like TikTok will know that, and it'll be everything about dogs and like, you know, life with a puppy and all that sort of stuff. And then it gradually but like subtly evolves and changes all the time, so that you're always given content that's really ready for you. And I feel like that just kind of plays into users' like experience and use of the platform, and they always want to go back because there's always something new and fresh. So I think that's what TikTok does really well. And I think if brands and creators can play into that and creating content that they know their audience is going to want, if it appears on their page, then I do see it sticking around.
Yeah, 100%. My TikTok for you page right now is literally all Spudman. Just like pure like Spudman live, Spudman posted this. What like interesting like articles about like how Spudman like rose to TikTok fame. It's literally like all Spudman, and I'm literally thinking, do I consume this much content
so
about
funny.
Spudman?
I've never heard of Spudman in my life. So we definitely have different
Spud brothers, Spud bros, like all these type of Spud people. And I'm
no
like,
idea what that is.
the Spud lady.
Yeah, not a clue.
Spudman, he makes like jack potatoes. Oh my God, they look insane.
They look so good.
He puts like
They're in
loads of
Tamworth.
beans and like cheese. Oh,
They look really good.
So it's like he sells them.
Yeah, like a jack potato.
£5 a jack
basically.
potato.
but he gives them away as well.
Oh, so it was like the...
It goes live on TikTok all the time.
Oh, right, okay. So it's like an example of one specific place going viral, like that chippy that went viral.
Yeah, Billy Mega Chippy.
Yeah, and the other
Shout
one that
out.
I was actually going to mention, that the
Tandoori.
Urban Tandoor in Bristol, I think it is,
Oh,
that
yeah.
Indian restaurant who do like really great like TikTok, like
Like
they're really
parodies.
entertaining, really, really funny. Like they're like internationally known. Yeah, okay.
I think,
really
again,
interesting.
that's
I've
why
never heard of them.
TikTok's so good though, because it lets like small businesses, small creators like grow so much. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's here to stay.
I was just going to say, I think TikTok's really good at introducing new and exciting features as well. So obviously they're really pushing it now as like a search engine and encouraging SEO. And for creators, they give you tips on like how to do that. I know I've definitely got that. And like you said, the creator program. And then as well, they know like long form content's becoming popular again. So they're encouraging 10-minute videos. I just think, like you said, Amy, they're really good at adapting and evolving and just keeping people coming back to the app, especially with like TikTok Shop and the e-commerce side of that. That's grown so much.
It's like brought back tele shopping.
Yeah.
Hasn't it? It's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Really
it's
has.
crazy. Because I was speaking to my younger sister and my younger cousin. They're literally like 10 and 11. And they're like, oh, have you seen this thing on TikTok Shop? And I'm like, I don't know if that's legal. I don't know if we should be being sold to like this. But I think it's really interesting because we've been like kind of conditioned in marketing for so long to now be like, don't push your product, don't push your product. But then this TikTok lives come about. It's like tele shopping again. And it's like, they go on and they're like, you're even saying in the office the other day, like, oh, get this dress, girls, like £25, get it now.
Yeah,
And it's
you've
crazy.
only got 30 seconds left, and I'm like, oh my God, let me buy it. Please wait for me.
But it's powerful as well. And I
Yeah.
think that a lot of brands are getting on board with that. Like Lux Collective, who've recently just got investment from Dragon's Den, Stephen Bartlett. Crazy story, like amazing growth on TikTok. And they're like, I think they're like one of the most followed luxury, pre-loved luxury brands. And now they've just had like insane growth on TikTok. They've got this investment from Stephen Bartlett. Like it's just been an amazing story. And I was listening to a podcast with Ben Gallagher, who's the founder of Lux Collective, and Grace Beverly. Shout out Grace Beverly, we always do. And they were talking in there, and he said TikTok and social media has played such a pivotal role in like their success that they wouldn't be where they are now without it. And I think there's been so many brands that are like that. You know, we talk a lot about all of these different brands, and it's so nice to see that TikTok has been like a game changer for them. But then equally, there's been so many brands that haven't adopted TikTok that have kind of now either they're getting onto it or they don't want to because they're like, oh, I don't know, like that boat sailed. Do we think the boat sailed for brands, like new brands?
I don't think so. I think as long as you're creative with it, whereas like I think you see some brands that come on TikTok and do it how it was done in like 2020 and you think, oh, like, come on, like keep up with the times. But yeah, I think as you were saying then about like Ben from Lux Collective, like they've been massive with like storytelling and stuff. And I think that is pivotal with TikTok at the moment, like telling your brand story, but telling it in a way that's interesting, but also adds value to the user. Because at the end of the day, like everyone's selfish on TikTok. Everyone's selfish in general. They want something from your video and they want it to be as interactive as possible. So I feel like as long as you're adding value to them and keeping it interesting to them, people will watch. And TikTok is so big on like user retention. So, and we see it with like, they've obviously added the 10-minute option back to have videos at least 10 minutes long. So they're really prioritising that user retention right now. And we've seen it with, I don't know what the girl is, you might know Becky because you're the OG TikToker, but there's a girl at the moment who's gone viral with like a 50-part 10-minute video.
Yeah, I've seen that on LinkedIn.
Like a story time video
About
that's like
how
video
she's
after video.
married, divorced, and now has realised her husband was a pathological liar.
But it's like each video is 10 minutes long
Yeah.
and it's 50 parts and people are obsessed. It's got
She's got like
millions
2
of
million
views.
followers now. Like,
And
she's great.
Yeah, it's like the
It's just
equivalent
like-
of watching a
Yeah.
film. Like
Yeah.
the length of it, it's like 3 hours or something ridiculous, isn't it? And yet people are invested in watching it. So just show the power of
Retention.
like creating good content. People will stay to watch it, won't they? So
But then loads of research says like our attention spans are getting shorter. But
Yeah.
is that the case then? Or is it, as you said, is it just about the content? Like if content is 30 seconds versus 10 minutes, if it's good content, will you watch it?
I think so. And I think obviously this person, this is like a personal story. This isn't necessarily a brand sort of TikTok. So I think that probably makes a difference because people are always invested in other people's lives, aren't they? Like that's just the way that we're wired. But I do think, I think the way that it's probably been delivered as well, I don't know, I haven't watched it. I'm probably not going to, but the way that it's sort of drip fed, the way that it kind of leaves you wanting more, it's almost like once you invest enough of your time in something, like it's just like inevitable that you're going to want to see it out to the end and find out what happens. There's someone who does something similar. I don't know if you guys have seen where like she's reading all the Harry Potter books and like as she's reading them, like it's like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. Like it's the first time reading them and I'm really invested in like that reaction to all of those books and stuff as well. So it's, I think it depends on the type of content and if you can do it in an entertaining way. But I think brands can also do that. I just think maybe that attention span thing comes into play a little bit more if it's something that like, I don't know, maybe if you're a brand that maybe your I don't know, product or whatever, like a little bit dry, you've got to be more creative, like Kira said, with the storytelling side of your business or your product and like think about ways that you can hook people's attention and then kind of draw them in that way. Not every brand is going to have a 50-part worthy story that, so you've got to be creative, haven't you? But yeah.
I think though with brands, it's about understanding the need for different channels and it's not always just about, okay, we're going to go on and show our product or talk about our service. Obviously we talked about TikTok Shop before and the thing is, at the end of the day, TikTok Shop will work for e-com businesses, quick, cheap sales. But if you're like a high luxury kind of brand or you're like a service-based business or even B2B, there is space for you on TikTok. It's just not necessarily in just getting sales. Sometimes it can be like about a new reach of an audience. TikTok is huge with Gen Z. Like Gen Z absolutely love TikTok. They're like digital native. So like it's inevitable that they're going to be on that platform. If you're a B2B brand or a service-based brand, okay, you're not necessarily going to get £25 dresses sales on TikTok Shop, but you will get that awareness to a new audience. So I think it's about understanding like your objectives with TikTok and other social media platforms.
Yeah, I think as a brand as well, you've also got to consider what people are coming to the platform for. And that comes into like multi-channel marketing. Like people are going to LinkedIn, they switched on, they might be like first thing in the morning, they're thinking in more like of a business, like more of a sensible mood. Whereas on TikTok, you're not in that same brain capacity. You're wanting to digest like entertaining content. You're wanting to kind of switch off almost. So like you're not going to digest the exact same content that you would on LinkedIn. So even if you are repurposing like your LinkedIn post, that they need to be like packaged in a totally different way and to the mind of your consumer who would be on TikTok.
When I started my journey with Girls in Marketing as a business, like many of you, I was passionate about marketing, but there was so much I didn't know, especially the legal aspects involved in starting and running a business. One key area I wish I'd understood from the start is professional indemnity insurance. It's something many of us overlook, but it's crucial for anyone in a consultancy or service-based profession. So, what is professional indemnity insurance? It's a type of insurance that protects you if a client alleges that you've made a mistake, given poor advice, or been negligent in some aspect of your work that results in a financial loss or reputational damage to them. Professional indemnity is not just helpful, it's essential. It's about protecting your hard work, your reputation, and your financial well-being. Kingsbridge Insurance has sponsored this episode of the podcast because they understand the challenges that we face and provide peace of mind when we need to focus on what we do best. So, if you're a freelancer, small business, or consultant and interested in learning more, you can visit the Kingsbridge website by going to kingsbridge.co.uk. Now, let's get back into the episode.
And I think an example, like I mentioned before, for example, like that Urban Tandoor, which is a restaurant, they can't sell anything through TikTok Shop. They can't sell their food. You know, they're not an e-com business, but they've had so much success. They're internationally known now. They're really well known for like their funny viral videos. Their staff get really involved with things. And I feel like that can have so many knock-on effects and, you know, benefits for them in that, you know, it might literally make people visit Bristol because they want to go to this really like funny, well-known restaurant. If not that, if somebody's in Bristol, they might be inclined to go there just because they've heard of you. It's like a novel thing and they're like, oh, let's go there to this place that we've heard of. It's also had knock-on effects because through things like this and all of the great content that they have on socials, it impacts other things and other places that people might go. You know, it's put them into sort of like TripAdvisor, top 20 restaurant lists. It gets them, you know, coverage in other outlets. Like they've had like great PR and stuff like that. So it impacts on other channels as well if you have a good presence on TikTok. So, you know, you might find that people look on TikTok if they're in Bristol for somewhere to eat and you might come up, but equally they might go and, you know, Google it, but you might still come up as a result because you've had success on TikTok and it's had knock-on effects elsewhere. So I think you've got to also look at like the wider picture of how a really positive TikTok presence can have an impact generally on your brand's kind of marketing overall.
I think a really good example as well is, I know we love them, SheerLuxe. Like we do watch them all the time, but I'm pretty sure the UK's like biggest online fashion publication, and I'd heard of them before, but not on this level. And I think they've blew up and they're just really, they jump on trends. Their staff get really involved. I think it seems quite fun and people engage in their outfits and they kind of tie the fashion and the lifestyle together. All the staff have got like TikToks now and they've grew their presence. They've done like another podcast. And I think that's just really helped them bring about brand awareness. But also they've had user generated content because like marketing agencies and stuff have recreated their TikToks. So I think that's really good as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely agree. They're everywhere, aren't they? Yeah. I love them.
But that's because people are using TikTok as a search engine as well. Mm-hmm. Like even we were talking before about Spudman. No offense to anyone who's from Tamworth, but like I've never considered, that's where he's based, isn't it? Tamworth.
Yeah, Tamworth.
I've never considered going to Tamworth before.
I have now.
But I'm saying to Rich, my partner, every weekend, I'm like, shall we go?
If you go, can I come with you? Because I really want to go.
Well, it's so crazy though, because so my partner doesn't have TikTok. Mm-hmm. He only has Facebook, but Spudman's big on Facebook as well.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah, which I didn't know. I said to him, like, I'm not sure. Like, I'm not into Facebook, but I'm like, I think he just does it because he doesn't have TikTok, so he's bored.
Facebook Reels.
No, literally, he watches Spudman on there, and I thought he was just big on TikTok, but he's not. So anyway, we've considered going, but we haven't yet. But I'll let you know if we do a road trip. But I think it's interesting that TikTok has that like searchability element. Yeah. Like, even if you think, okay, well, I want to go to this certain place. What is there to eat there? What can I do there? Like, and so many brands are leaning into that, which is good. But then there's some brands who aren't, that want to, but don't know how to, which is always interesting. Because there's like quite a lot of places in Liverpool now that have went kind of like viral or like semi-viral sort of thing. And it's had like a massive impact on their success and everything like that, because there's one, Emily's in Formby. They're huge, like again similar, you know, funny sort of, but also like nice aesthetic sort of content as well. It's so interesting to see all of these brands leaning into it, and as you said, you can't directly track this ROI of like this TikTok, but actually like it's massively benefiting like so many businesses.
Absolutely. And also those businesses can work really well with TikTok creators. So not only creating the content from their own brand pages, but also working with creators, whether they're local creators or people in their niche and stuff like that. I feel like there's a lot of potential for brands to do that as well. So I do think that there's like so much potential for TikTok. I don't think it's going anywhere personally. I think it's just going to continue to grow.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think, what do you think? Do you think TikTok's here to stay?
I mean, I literally do open the app 19 times a day, so I hope it's here to stay. But I think the way they're moving and the way they adapt and evolve, I think definitely. Yeah. And the brands are just people are jumping on it more and more.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I definitely open it more than 19 times per day. But yeah, it's got to be here to stay because I don't know what I would do with my life without it.
Yeah. And I think that's a good place to round up today. And that's a wrap on another team episode. Before you forget, we'd love to make this a two-way conversation. Feel free to share your opinions on this episode with us on social media by tagging Girls in Marketing. If you did enjoy listening to our team chat about marketing, please follow and leave a review of the podcast so we can continue to grow and share more episodes like this one. Your support really does go a long way. We'll be back next week with another amazing episode, but until then, join in the conversation on social media. See you next week.